We are from K-State, and we'll be seeing you not only today, but also a few other days. 7th grade, also 8th grade. We'll be moving to 8th grade next year. And we'll be talking to you about snacks, how healthy they are, how they are made, how they taste, and so on. And over the period of next year or so. So today is the first time we are here. You'll see us several more times.
Now we have a little more information based off of what we did last year, so we were able to tailor things better and kind of fine-tune some information and really get at what the kids know and really get to that part I think that really interests the kids so they can retain what we're telling them. And for example, now with today's activity is kind of dealing with taste testing, but also to bring in the nutrition component of reading food labels, but it also ties into the information that I discussed last year in terms of like grain products and whole grains. And although these students were not a part of it, but in doing the nutrition labeling education piece, I just say certain things kind of like a teaser. So when we do go into talking about the whole grains and just making healthier choices, I can refer back to, oh, remember when we did the nutrition label kind of activity. So it's kind of like a teaser, and each one would build off of the next, which I think is just great. Now that you have had the opportunity to do a little taste testing, we are going to evaluate the nutrition label on all 4 of these products. Based on the information that I give you, you all will become nutrition detectives. And you will use that information and you will tell me which one is the healthier product based on the information you have been given.
We are trying to basically track them over 4 semesters, that is over 2 years, 7th as well as 8th grade, and see if there are any behavioral changes. Being a sensory analyst, my main objective would be if they are exposed to more healthy snacks, whether their behavior will change or not, and whether they'll ask their parents, hey, I want to buy, I want to consume some what you call snacks which are healthy and doesn't have that much fat or other sugars, things like that, more protein maybe.
To begin with, they have an easier questionnaire. We changed the format. It's just easier to go through it and answer it. So I'm sure that makes a difference. You don't see them sign anymore when they turn to the 3rd page, and that's a big difference. And they get excited with taste tests. They like it, and I'm amazed how they have no training, but still they really pay attention. They break it, they smell it, and they're really involved and they want to give their best and really analyze the products. So that's been it's good that they interact a little bit more. It's not just the lesson and the information, they're really hands-on.
Which one has the most calories coming from fat? Cheetos and the regular Lay's. Yeah.
I think it's important to show you on how to control on what you eat and how you read the labels to know what you're eating and what's inside of it.
Have you ever heard of this information before, like in the classroom or anything?
Usually we don't do that, and I think it's cool because I get break from PE and tasting them and seeing the difference and stuff, and looking at the things. Because usually I look at them in my house and stuff, the calories, but I never pay attention to the vitamin A, and I don't know how to tell the difference. So it's cool to kind of learn that.
Something that's 0 to 100 calories would be considered low. 100 to 400 is in that moderate range, and that's acceptable. And then greater than 400 would be something that's high in calories. Okay? Now, this is what we are about to do. You are about to fill in those blank nutrition labels. You have 4 of them because you tasted 4 products. Now you are getting ready to write the nutrition information from the 4 products, and you are going to tell me, based on the information you learned on what we like to limit, and I will put this slide back up here just so you would know, you're going to tell me which one you get older, their taste buds do change, but also as they get older, they're learning more information. And we are hoping that the information that we are providing them will be information that they will just kind of carry on and as they get older and older, because that information we are hoping that they carry on into their adult life.
The whole idea is we don't want this to be like a one-time shot. You know, you give the kids information and then you leave them there. We want to follow them to make sure they really understand the information, and there is a process of not only behavior change but also attitude change and knowledge change. And that's why we need to follow them from all the way from the beginning. That's why we did research at the beginning to see at least what do they know, and then using that information to improve the communication process. And then we come back, by the time they graduate middle school, finish middle school, we're going to be assessing to see did we make any difference in terms of what do they actually buy when they go to their vending machines, or when they go to the store, do they make the right choices? And that's what we're trying to follow up with them, to see any kind of changes in terms of attitudes, behaviors, knowledge, anything. And also how can we really get to see, especially with the parents, what kind of behaviors have the parents changed in terms of what they bring at home for the kids. And the children can play a big role when it comes to influencing what the parents actually buy.
We're going to do this for several times. We're going to see you again next month, late April, when we'll have a field trip, when you guys will come over to K-State. Then we'll also see you a couple of different times in 8th grade, when you go on to 8th grade next year. So you'll see us from time to time, and we'll keep talking to you about snacks and also get your input on various snacks which are out there, with the idea of just learning more about what's good, what's not in terms of nutrition, and what you guys like and what you guys don't in terms of the taste of those snacks.
Welcome. And well, we're going to start today doing kind of the same thing we did last time over at the school. We're going to start with a taste test. So this time we have 6 samples, same thing. I'll give you the ballots and then I'll kind of explain it a little bit more. Well, we started with nutrition last time, and now we're going to move on all things related to food and snacks. And one thing related to food is, how we relate to it, and we use our senses. This is a pretty cool picture of all the senses. Does anyone see a hand in there? Where is it? Just
Right.
kind of in the middle?
No, right. Yeah, that weird. Right there.
Here you go. Does anyone see a nose?
Near the top.
Yeah, right over there on the top. And then plenty of eyes. And so hands, nose, eyes, all that makes up what we use to evaluate food, and not just food, everything around us.
Everything which is out in the market, every single product, it has been tasted scientifically, what we call sensory evaluation, what you learn in there before it comes out. So it's very important to understand, it's fun also to understand how that takes place, but very common in industry. What goes into tortilla chips? Corn, yeah. Corn goes into tortilla chips. We just first start with the corn cob, the cob of corn. You shell it, or machine shell it actually, and you get these corn kernels. And these are what are processed into tortilla chips, and then they're packaged finally into Tostitos, Doritos, whichever product you see out there. So, but it all starts from the grain of corn, or corn kernels. But this is the whole process. You take the corn kernels, you add a lot of water to it, and then you put it in a vessel and you cook it. Meaning you heat it up and you let it cook for about 30-40 minutes until the whole a whole batch of corn in there is properly cooked. So it takes about 30-40 minutes. It's done in these huge cooking vessels. Very big vessels. They're called also cooking kettles. Unlike the small vessels or small kettles or small pans you use at home, of course you can easily cook stuff on it too, but in industry, in companies, you have to have these huge kettles or vessels to cook in. So the cooked corn kernels are then taken into another process where they are soaked in lime water. Those guys right there where he's down the right.
I think it's very important because we know that children, the creeping obesity of our adolescents and young teenagers is rising, and they like to eat. It's a social part of their life, but if they can make good choices on nutritional snacks, and so that they can eat more healthy and hopefully have a more fit life as they become adults, I think it's very important. Children, I hope to see it go where children understand they can eat most anything, but in moderation, and to watch their portion sizes, and to understand what snacking is versus having meals, and just making good choices. When it comes to food, middle schoolers like to eat, so I think that helps with the motivation. I do think, though, with activities with their families, they are a little more conscious because due to the media and so forth, it has become more aware of the problem of making sure we eat more nutritionally. I hope that the family unit understands that that's important, so that they sit down as a family. I see that our families are getting so busy that they don't take time to sit down and eat as a family, so maybe they don't eat as well, and so I hope the family becomes involved with a part of this. But I do think, because how much it's being advertised and spread through the media, that people are becoming more aware.
We are now moving into reader engagement and communication, because we've done the research part, which obviously they continue to do that, but now the next phase is really disseminating the information and getting the children to learn, to be educated about, or to really understand the information. And that is where our role now as communications people really come in strongly, because we need to be developing the communication materials, the newsletters, really disseminating that information in a way that the students can learn and participate in that whole learning process. So part of what we're doing with a group of students is they are developing a newsletter, which is going to be included in our website, and also developing other communication materials that will be disseminated to the students, which they can read at home, at school, and also probably share with their parents. And that's where our role now should be becoming even more than what it was before.
We know what we're doing now, and it's just flowing a lot more easier this time. It started out as a part of my PhD research project, and it branched out, and it really became a whole new big project and a real engagement project. So it's exciting to be part of it, especially because I come from human nutrition, I'm in grain science, and it really gives me the chance to put both together and build on it.
Again, we'll be able to measure how much that growth has occurred, and we will be able to determine the information that we are teaching. Are we hitting the right spot? Are we targeting the right areas? And we should see growth in those areas in terms of their understanding of what nutrients are, what antioxidants are, the benefits, eating a healthier diet, how important it is to be more like a nutrition detective when they're looking at labels, so they can make those healthier choices, because their parents will not always be around, and they are getting to that like teenage years where they will have more independence, they will be making more decisions for the foods that they eat. So the idea is to lay a nice foundation of information for them that they will be able to just take on as they get older. It may be a water have younger siblings. They may go back and hopefully share some of this information with their younger siblings, because, you know, like we all like to kind of showcase what it is that we have learned, and how nice it is to be able to teach your younger siblings the information that you have learned that would benefit them.
The main outcome I would again try to see is that over a period of 2 years, whether we can track any behavioral changes for the intervention group as opposed to the control group. So if there are any changes in the behavior of the kids who are we are intervening with, and basically giving them the taste test as well as the survey. The control group will only get the survey, and they won't go through any intervention. So we are trying to figure out if this kind of educational, what do you call, educational material helps.
What did you learn from this project today?
That baked rice and popcorn is healthier and how to read food labels.
And do you find that important at your age?
Yes.
What's so important about it?
So that you can stay healthy and active.
I think that is going to be a long-term project because it is a big problem, and it's not just here in Manhattan. The whole of Kansas, obviously, it's a national epidemic, I should say. So when something becomes an epidemic, it means that you cannot just stop there. So this is just a starting point. This is a pilot project. And hopefully the next phase, when we move on to the next step, is going to expand a little bit into probably cover several counties in Kansas, probably cover the whole of Kansas. So we are just moving small steps, but hopefully in the next 2-3 years, it should be a much bigger project. In addition to that, research continues to be done. The scientific researchers are doing research. Everybody's doing research, any kind of research. We will be also doing our own communication research to evaluate the kind of change that we have made to this whole communication and engagement process. So this is just a starting point. So hopefully we can make it a much bigger project. But again, it depends on the funding. So hopefully we continue pursuing not only local grants but also national grants to make sure that at least we can expand it, because it's really a major issue that needs to be dealt with, and from all different perspectives.
Why do you think it's important for people your age to learn about healthy eating and stuff?
So they can manage themselves and be healthy.
And so what are you going to do now differently? And why?
Because healthy.